Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about this novel, which is called The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, and the related trilogy of movies. This novel is about a hobbit called Bilbo Baggins, who is persuaded to go on a quest to recover some treasure by Gandalf, who is a wizard. The novel starts with some unexpected guests, that being the dwarfs, turning up and having dinner at Bilbo Baggins's place. So already the Hobbit's quiet existence is being disrupted, because Hobbits like to live a very quiet existence, smoking pipes, tending to their small gardens and things. So we immediately know that this quiet existence is going to be disrupted. J.R.R. Tolkien was much influenced by Norse mythology, English literature, and various other forms of ancient text. He was an English professor, so he was well qualified to draw on all these texts. So the dwarves and Bilbo Baggins set off on their journey, and Gandalf appears now and again. First of all, they come across some trolls. The trolls try to eat them, but they get the better of them, because Gandalf turns up and gets them to talk until dusk, so that they turn to stone, because evidently trolls turn to stone when dusk comes. In the movie, Gandalf breaks a rock so that the sun hits them, so they turn to stone, which was less good in my view, because it was clever to see how Gandalf kept them talking in the novel. So then they get clothes, food, swords, and gold coins from a cave that the trolls have, and they bury the gold for safekeeping. Later, they have a fight with some goblins, and they end up killing the Goblin King, and Bilbo is knocked unconscious, and he awakes in a cave on his own. Bilbo finds a mysterious ring and pockets it. And then he meets a character called Gollum, who is a reclusive character who lives underground on an island in the middle of a kind of underground lake. He refers to himself as precious, and one of the themes in this work is the theme that people should be involved in community, and Gollum really isn't at all, because he just lives a reclusive existence preying on goblins and fish. The exchange between Gollum and Bilbo is very, very interesting and good, particularly in the novel. They talk to each other in riddles and try to outwit each other. Gollum wants to eat Bilbo, whereas Bilbo just wants to get out of the cave. Bilbo gets out of the cave and he reunites with the dwarves. Then they're all pursued by some wargs, which are kind of very fierce wolves, and the goblins. They're chased up some trees, and some eagles then take them all to safety. So it gets particularly fantastical at this point. Then they have to go through an enchanted wood and they're attacked by some spiders. The dwarves are captured by some wood elves, but Bilbo isn't captured because he uses the ring that he got to make himself invisible. So Bilbo very bravely and generously actually goes into the castle with the prisoners and very intelligently learns the layout of the place and so forth to orchestrate an escape. He realizes there's a stream under the castle, so he locates a trap door which is used for barrels to go downstream. If I remember rightly, it's kind of waste barrels that are no longer wanted. So Bilbo orchestrates this brilliant escape and the dwarves are swept to safety. So they go on to the Lonely Mountain, which is where they want to get to recover the treasure. They locate the secret door, and Bilbo goes in and successfully gets a cup. But the dragon that protects the treasure, called Smog, immediately realizes. He assumes the people in Lake Town, which is the nearby town, are behind this. So he goes off and destroys the city. But an archer called Bard has learned from inside knowledge where the dragon's weak spot is, so he successfully shoots him and kills the dragon. When the dwarfs take possession of the treasure in the mountain, Bilbo stealthily takes the Arkenstone, which is considered the most important bit of treasure. He uses this to try to negotiate peace between the dwarves and other parties in the area who want access to the wealth in the mountain. So then he's unsuccessful with that. So there's what's called in the book the Battle of Five Armies. And they fight it out and eventually manage to defeat the goblins and the walks. So eventually Bilbo gets home to his hobbit hole, but he finds that his possessions are being sold at auction because he is presumed dead, because hobbits never tend to go on such adventures. So we see an interesting bit of character development where the hobbit has turned from being a reclusive kind of guy, a little bit self-centered, to someone who is helping his community, and that's a major theme of the novel. The characters that are seen as of little merit, such as Smaug and Gollum, are individualistic and turn their back on community. So this work was written in the omniscient third person, and we have this bird's eye view of everything that goes on in all perspectives. This gives it a magical feel, and it's appropriate for this kind of story. I've seen the first 2 movies of the trilogy, but not the last one. I have no real desire to see the last one because I wasn't really particularly impressed with the first 2. I'm not keen on CGI myself, so the special effects didn't work much for me. I thought the additional characters were a bit bland in the movie. Extra conflict seemed to be put in between characters for no real reason, I felt. I would have preferred if they'd stuck more faithfully to Tolkien's script. I thought the great strengths of the novel were the exchanges between Bilbo and Gandalf, and Bilbo and Gollum, and Bilbo and the dragon. I thought the dialogue was great between those characters. I feel like a lot of people could write this kind of story, the more action-packed scenes. Maybe this story's only got so much acclaim because it was written by an English professor and people judge people's writing on their main day job often. So in summary, I far preferred the novel to the film productions. Please tell me what you think of the movie if you've seen that, or the novel if you had time to read that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.